Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. The Strange New World season premiere is finally here. Let's fucking go. Let's go. I am your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew. These guys all here, this side of a barrel of blood wine. Pick your vintage, I don't care. We have Vice Admiral Eric, and no, that ice cream bar does not have Ractigino flavoring, but it should. It should.
It really should, but...
It really should.
Chocolate.
Chocolate. We could pretend. Commander Hawk is here wondering if he could still pull off the black leather undercover outfits that Lon and the crew were wearing. I think you can.
Everyone can pull those off. They're just
100% you can do it.
Well, they say time is the fire in which we burn, but somebody tell that to my midsection.
Guys, it's been a spicy evening. We've had a lot go on, and we're already making fire jokes. So here we are. Because we can. That's right. Captain Giraffe is here, and I know she wants to get her hands on Spock's loot. I do too.
Loot.
No? Loots?
Done with Spock. It's too much Spock.
Too much Spock.
Sugar.
I mean, like,
it makes you sick.
I don't disagree with you there, honestly.
We'll get into that.
We will get into that. And finally, Lieutenant Commander MC is here and still workshopping her warp line. Do you have one?
No.
Is it Zoom?
No, not Zoom. Not Vamonos.
Let's beat another dead horse.
Let's beat another dead horse. I like it. That would hurt Captain Pike though, so maybe we don't want to do that.
Matt, it's my pride dress.
Ooh,
It's very nice.
Very nice.
It's really nice. Yes. Happy Pride, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome aboard. It is Strange New Worlds premiere time. Hello to you in the YouTube land. I'm waving this way because this is where my chat is. So I'm virtually waving at you. Hello. Keep your questions, comments coming all night long. There are a lot of you tonight. That is very exciting. This week, we are reviewing the Strange New World season premiere, What Happens When Uhura receives a distress call from La'an, warning of an imminent threat on the Federation, leading Spock to steal the Enterprise? What? That happened. What massive secret do M'Benga and Chapel discover deep in the dilithium mines of Kadajar 4? And what do we learn about their time in the Klingon War? That's a big one. Oh yeah, also, how much blood wine can Spock handle? We do find that out. We break it all down, but first, Eric, we're starting at the top. We need to thank our patron collective members at the Ready Room level and above.
Of course. Thank you to Simon, Stager, Jeff Reeve, Mariah Gossett, Tallulah, Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Joe Saporito, Noe Santo, Kung Hui, Takako Nagumo, Kara Kennedy, Fernando Nogales, SMK, Laura Linderman, Colin Davidson, Alan Davis, Shatterhand 2049, Jesco, Michael Graham, Emily and Travis, Gildara, Cassie, T'Pring is T'Pring. Maggie Light, ally of the Canadian Takeover. Yeah. Wayne Ritz, Go Navark, Sean J. Howard, Mahalani Uchiyama, Matt Harker, Joshua Lewis, David Willett, Tara Paulin, Slope 74. I have to actually hold my mouse over this because there's so many of you guys.
So many now.
Slope 74, Rude Parakeet, Joshua Miller, Adam Sanders, Eris Spengian, Lanky Guy, Cynthia Markey, Aaron Watkey, Carl Angoli, Michael Kwan, TJ, Mare, and Caitlin. And our newest collective members, Elizabeth Dean, Jim McMahon, and the Chief, Ernesto Castagna.
Tascagna?
Wait, is that the Ernesto?
That's Ernesto.
I'm convinced
This is the
it doesn't
Ernesto that
exist.
is, yes.
This is the Ernesto. Castagna.
Ernesto, I need proof of life. I think they made you up. They make you up. Who's paying for that person? What's going on? He doesn't exist. Somebody just created him.
It's so good. That's a Long Island joke. Speaking of, a massive thank you, by the way, to our executive producers, Commander Chris, Simon Stager, and Ernesto. Ernesto is one of our executive producers now. Not only does he not exist, he's an executive producer. So, guys, we couldn't do this without you. Thank you so much. Eric, I need my Ractigino ice cream bar, man. I see you eating that, and I just need one. I want one. We're going to get right into news. We're going to try and move things along really quick because we're obviously going to break down this episode. But 10 forward, we have something planned for you for the patrons at that level and above. Unfortunately, we did have something really awesome planned, but the proofs we received just weren't on par with what we wanted to do. So stay tuned. We're going to do something really cool with that, but it might take a couple of extra weeks because of things that we didn't get to do, unfortunately. It's still going to be badass. Don't worry about that. And then MCU designed an amazing sticker for the $2 level. I think I'll actually I'll debut that in the happy hour if people are coming to that.
Yep.
So you could show that to people there. Speaking of happy hour, directly following the pod, since we went so long last week, guys, we're going to do another happy hour directly following the pod tonight. So the link is on Patreon. Giraffe, what's going on at Comic-Con?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on 2 panels. I can't give you the dates and hours because Comic-Con, it may change. I'll be on a Star Trek for Beginner panel and evolutionary biology in Star Trek panel where I'm gonna be hosting because I know nothing about biology, so
You got the good job there.
I'll just be here to be fun. And I don't know if you caught this last week. I did a roundtable on Picard 3 with Kyle Sullivan from the Trek Spirit and Jesse Gender. Go check it out. You can add to the mean comments on the YouTube video about my opinion.
Dude, the
Please
comments
feel
were
free.
so ridiculous.
I got chewed up.
You did. You and Jesse, of course, like, you know,
yeah,
the
because
trans
we're
girl and the
agreeing,
black girl,
so,
like,
yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ. Like, come on, people.
So go have fun. And I was also on Text Trek about Stranger World Season 2 if you want to give a listen. Yeah.
I just
And
wanna
we're going
say-
to be on another podcast with MC by the end of the month, I think, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I didn't get to watch
Right.
Text Trek yet, but your roundtable was awesome. I watched it in 2 parts. I fell asleep because it was really late when I started it, which I shouldn't have
Yeah,
done.
it was very long. We
It
recorded
was
for like
long,
4
but it was really
hours.
good. It was really good. Anybody else have news? Good. Guys, all leading up to Strange New World Season 2, we've had our awesome, as is per our tradition, watch-along series on Discord, all 10 episodes of Season 1. People won these awesome stickers designed by MC. You're going to have an opportunity to win more of these throughout the season. We're doing trivia again. But everybody that came in, US-based, that's not our rule, sorry, we got to follow the rules, was entered to win a steelbook copy of Season 1 of Strange New Worlds, a Blu-ray, and we are going to do that drawing live right now. I have it on my other computer. I'm going to hit the wheel button. Maybe you can see if people can watch it. Let's see. There's the wheel. It's big. There's a lot of people. We're going to click it. Here we go. It's spinning.
Look at it go.
You could literally say any name. We
I
cannot
know.
read anything.
And congratulations, Jay Woodman. You win our steelbook copy of Strange New Worlds Season 1. Congratulations to you. We will get your details for shipping that to you. Anything else before we move on? We're doing good on time. We're doing good. Anybody else got anything? No? Good?
No, I
Hawk?
think of-
I'm good.
While I was doing all of that, you didn't go get your leather.
Oh, Jay's
I
in
did
the
not,
chat.
no.
He
Jay's
says
in the
thank you.
chat. Congrats.
Congrats, Jay.
That is awesome. All right, well, you know what? First strange new loop of Season 2 of Strange New Worlds. This is a fun one, I think. If you were going to disobey orders and steal the Enterprise, what other way besides faking... I just laugh at faking a warp core breach because it's so overplayed. Faking a warp core breach would you go about doing and why? I think I saw Giraffe's hands first, then Eric will go.
Wow.
Giraffe, go ahead.
I'd fake a virus, something, a pandemic. Somebody's sick.
Oh, I like
We need to quarantine everybody. You need to, anybody that everybody needs to be locked in their rooms or quarters and so on. Everybody needs to evacuate, and then you bail.
I love it. That's really good. You could do put a fake pathogen in the air, right? And just,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
You
right.
trigger the sensors by, I don't know. You wave your lighter and the other sensor,
Yeah.
something like this.
I love it. Eric, what about you?
Oh, fuck. I would just saucer separate and just get the hell out of there.
And you go to Klingon
shit.
space only with a saucer?
Yeah, why not? I'm not going
Why
there.
not?
I'm going to somewhere fun. I don't know.
He's gonna take it to Ryza.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's got it next?
I
I
think
got it.
Hawk does.
Hawk, hit it.
I think I got this one beat. Triple outbreak.
Yes.
Oof.
There you go.
You can't control
Can
that
you fake
shit.
a tribal outbreak?
Well, how do you fake? How do
I
you
don't
fake,
think you would fake it. I think you would have actual tribbles, and then what you would do is then set the transporter to lock onto all tribble DNA, and then just vent them out into space once you're out.
Or you could just fake the sensor readings,
You
right? Like,
can.
holy shit, there's a bunch of tribbles on the ship. Remember that Edward guy? Yeah, we don't want that to happen. Get out of here. Leave space
Other
dog.
white meat.
Yeah.
The other-
Yeah, they would
other white-
if after what happened with Edward, they would definitely tell you to break dock and get out of there.
We are being corrected in the chat that the saucer doesn't have warp engines. You
I
can
don't
go
need
pretty-
no warp engines. I just
No,
need
we're
to get
gonna
a
take
note.
a nice
He's
stroll
gonna
to
limp
rise
all the way to wherever he wants
Yeah.
to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have a
He'll be there in
question.
4
I mean-
years.
We might be overthinking this. I mean, looking at it, it seems to be really easy to steal the Enterprise.
So easy. What do you got, MC? If it's so easy, what do you got?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait for the captain to fall asleep because I think that might work.
Not wrong.
How do you
You're
get
not
them
right.
to release the
The docking clamps?
the docking gums? Yeah.
You
He's
don't even need
asleep,
to.
release us.
I mean, like the thing is, maybe don't steal the ship while you're in space dock.
Well, that's the question, MC. We need to steal the ship.
We need to steal the Enterprise,
It
MC.
doesn't. It does not
doesn't
say
say-
in space dock.
Mhm.
It just says steal the Enterprise.
You're not wrong. I'll
Okay,
allow it.
Fair enough.
I'll allow it. So you're just going to wait till the captain falls asleep. You know what? I have the perfect answer, and it has all of you beat. You just wait till Tuesday when nothing's installed on the ship.
True.
And then
That's right.
you just go and yeah, nobody's on board. Things aren't installed. It's just, yeah, it's go time. You know, you won't get anywhere because nothing's installed.
Well, yeah.
But you could still steal it. So yeah, Tuesdays. Tara in the chat goes, I would like to report a conspiracy to murder tribbles.
All I wanted to do was fake a sensor report.
Yeah.
I'm the one who took it to murder.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with murdering tribbles. They just cause too many issues. And the fact that there's one on Daystrom Station is bad news bears. Just saying. That's going to get out of control someday. Would I do it before Monday before things got does that mean you would do it Monday
Yeah,
before
that's
things
true.
get installed?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Everything is getting installed on
Sorry,
Tuesday,
you're right. So I would do it on Monday.
Yeah.
Monday. Thank you, Davey. Trivia man, as always, getting me squared away. Yes. Haven, you had one, right? You'd pull a data. It was up there. The chat's going too fast tonight. Since you're an Android, you'd pull a data. Yeah, data can just put in an encryption key and lock everybody out of the systems, and there you go. So
Damn.
We did try to count up all of the times that the hero ships have been.
we did. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot, and it was a lot of incidents too.
A lot of incidents. A lot. Draft, is there an earthquake in your house?
No, I'm moving my legs.
Oh, listen, there's earthquakes in San Diego. It happens.
True,
You
true.
never
But
know.
I'd
You
be
never
like
know.
a bit freaking. I'd be freaking
Right,
out a little
that's
bit more.
true. I'm a wiggle monster too, so I get it. I totally get it. All right, if we're good with the Strange New Loop, let's get to our review of the season 2 premiere of Strange New Worlds, titled The Broken Circle. We are starting from scratch, the stop, new season, going back to the top. Our roundtable order tonight will go Eric, Hawk, Giraffe, MC, followed by myself. Sir, someone's stealing the Enterprise. That's right. Like we didn't just talk about this for 10 minutes. The episode starts with Pike speaking with Una via comms. She's in Federation holding, and they're talking about getting counsel for her, but the person not answering either of their calls. So Pike leaves Spock in command of the Enterprise to go ask this person to represent Una in person. He says he'll be back in 3 days. You won't even have to leave space.
No, it'll take him 3 days to get there.
That's right. Thank you. It'll take him 3 days to get there. You won't have to leave space dock. Famous
Half.
2.5.
2.5
with the new
shuttlecraft.
shuttles.
Oh
new
my
shuttles.
God! Just let him finish the
No!
sentence.
Nope, not allowed.
No.
Nope. 2.5 days. Is there another amendment? No? Good. So he leaves Spock in command. What did we think about the scene, right? And the season not opening with Una's trial? Pike going away to maybe solve that issue. Eric.
I never thought that they would do the trial in the first episode. I always thought it would take a couple episodes before we got to this whole business. Although, sometimes they did wrap up things pretty fast in the first season. So I was just assuming that they would take a little bit longer to get to the trial. Maybe gather evidence, go around, have adventures, and then sort of in the background be like, you know what, we should figure out this Una business. they didn't really treat her that well in the first season. So who knows? I thought it was really bold of them not to have Pike and Una in the first episode. Like that was a choice. Was it a good choice? I guess. I thought the conversation was really good though. I really like the rapport, and it does feel like old friends talking to each other and being like, "Don't do anything stupid." I'm gonna do something stupid,
Right.
for you because we suffer without you.
I
Other
like
than
that she called him a Boy Scout again.
Yeah, and he is.
Yeah.
He would make a good
He
Captain
is.
America if he was much younger.
He would.
Well, it's good because Star Trek is becoming Marvel, so
We'll talk about the super soldier serum later, I guess.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was a good scene. I thought it was weird that they just sort of, didn't have these two really important people in the first episode.
Yeah, agreed. Hawk.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to start with Una's trial, and I'm, happily, was met with that expectation by this episode. It was definitely a bold choice having Pike just appear in the opening, and then that's it for the rest of the episode. I kind of dug that though. I think it's just trying to kind of separate itself from other kind of legacy series like TNG and that, because we kind of spent all year waiting for the episode to come around, the second season to come around and that. And, we all thought, the immediate thing would be Una's trial. But since this isn't that kind of Star Trek, they take a breather in that and just kind of took a beat. So I'm glad about that. I'm very curious about who this lawyer is that they're desperate to get on Una's case. And hopefully it's a legacy character. So I'll have to wait till next week to find out though.
Indeed. Giraffe.
Yeah, it was a bold choice. I think it was an interesting choice, and I think it's a choice that didn't pay. So, I at the beginning I was like, "Oh, cool! That's that's bold to open a season without the captain." And I'm like, "Cool," because Strange New Worlds is the Pike show, but not the Pike show. So I'm like, "Okay, let's get the kids, being a little bit rambunctious and imagine
Mom and dad are away.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what Stress Free K wrote in the chat. I like that the kids got the ship out for a ride without mommy and daddy.
Spock has the con of the Enterprise for the first time and still the fucking ship. I'm game for that plot. If you tell that story to me, I'm like, that sounds so cool. But I don't know, it was kind of like the scene with Una and Pike was great, and then it didn't continue. You
Right.
just went to something else, and you're like, okay. It was a bit, in French we say décousu, unstitched.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I think that scene was great. Too bad they didn't bring us anywhere with that.
Yeah.
I think it was a bold choice to not start by the trial, but they should definitely have started by the trial.
It's
In the
weird
end.
that they had that scene and didn't bookend it at the end of the episode.
Well, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just like if they had at the end, maybe him arriving wherever the hell he's going.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
cool. But then no, he's just back. I don't know. He's not. No, he's not.
We don't even see him at the end of the
Yeah,
episode.
you don't even
Yeah.
see him. Yeah. So it was just okay.
MC.
I mean, I can understand them not starting with the courtroom episode because Star Trek courtroom episodes do have a certain vibe to it that's not like, yeah, let's go. But then this episode kind of felt too much like that. There's this really weird thing going on where this episode felt both too big and too small to me.
That's a great way to say it. Yeah.
They're dealing with a catastrophic thing that could alter the Federation, and that calls back to Discovery season 1. So basically, encompassing all of New Trek. And it's just a bunch of kids running around, and we're mostly concerned about Spock's feelings. And we'll get more into all of the stuff. But yeah, it was this weird kind of
Yeah, for me, listen, I wanted this show because Pike's always been one of my favorite characters besides being on 2 episodes of television. And, we did get a lot of them in season 1, so I'm maybe sounding a little bit spoiled. But like, I want my captain on the ship. Like, I'm fine with other characters getting their moments, but especially the way Quality of Mercy ended with Pike going, "I'm sorry too, because this isn't over." And then you start so strong with that conversation between the two, and then it's like, "Hey, see ya, I'll be back." It would work if it was a perfectly executed episode, but unfortunately it wasn't. So it didn't quite work.
Listen, they could have done the same thing with Pike staying with April to stall.
Right.
And then you
Yeah.
had another like
Right.
tension because he's
Yeah.
in the game, but he's not here.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it would have been something. Yeah, I don't know. I like it, but I like that, like we keep saying Mommy and Daddy get to be away from the ship and the kids get to have all the fun, but I like Mommy and Daddy a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want them. So
Jessie Gender also made a really good point in her review of this episode that this is the first time we're seeing Spock in the captain's chair.
Mm.
And it's a really weird way to introduce him to the captain's chair in that it's immediately not what you expect of
Right.
Spock in the captain's chair, which I'm not sure I really love that, because I mean they kind of started like that he was going to be like really stressed out and very much more of the Galileo 7 Spock.
Mhm.
And then we don't get that, and
Well,
yeah, so
yeah. Well, let's get into that some more, right? Because while on Starbase 1, Uhura receives a distress call from La'an. She was tracking down a lead on Ariana's parents, the girl who survived the Gorn in 109, right? The distress call says there's an imminent threat to the Federation, and when Admiral April denies Spock the request to pursue, Spock enlists the crew to steal the Enterprise, because of course that's what she would do. What did we think about this scene, and also the introduction to Carol Kane's Pelia, Eric?
First off, Uhura like taking charge of her station was so awesome.
good.
And it made me so happy when she did it. She's like, you know what? Just chill. I got this. I got to do stuff. This is my place. Get. I loved her. Celia's amazing as Uhura, like we always say. And then her finding out, like, the distress call was awesome. That's classic Uhura doing her thing, like doing something that, other people wouldn't be able to do. So that was cool. La'an, I'm glad that we got her back as soon as we did.
Yeah.
Like I was wondering how long they were gonna delay that. And it's cool that she is still on that mission to help the people
It's
offset
nice
from the Gorn.
consistency. Yeah.
I was surprised that Admiral April was just like, fuck off. She's
Yeah, I
not
was
part of
too.
Starfleet.
Yeah.
We don't care about them anymore. Like it's adding that little bit of, is there gonna be something
villain?
underneath that, and like, is he gonna be a villain? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was sitting there, I was
And
like,
I really
oh,
hope not.
yeah, I
No,
don't
please
want
no.
it. I really don't. But that's what I started getting, and like throughout the episode, actually, every time we saw him, I was just like, That being
captains of the Enterprise need to be immune to being admirals.
Agreed. Yeah. Except Jellicoe. Fuck that guy.
he wasn't really. Yeah.
No,
that
you're right.
being said, I like hijinks, and I thought that the stealing of the Enterprise was cute. It was fun. I really liked that Carol Kane's Pelia came aboard and was like, I know what you're doing, and I can do it better.
Yeah.
And it immediately made me go, I love you, and I want to know more about you. And then Uhura said her species, which I can't remember what it was. And I was sitting there,
Lanthanite?
Lanthanite, yeah.
and I was like,
Lanthanite.
what is this? I don't even recall this being a species. And then I think I messaged MC. I was like, is this a thing? And you're like, I don't think so. And
No, this
it's
is
a new
new.
thing. Yeah.
No, they
so,
made it up. Yeah.
so I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to knowing more. Like she is so intriguing just from the little we've seen that I just want to know everything about her.
Yeah. Agreed. Hawk?
Yeah. I was trying to think. There was a movie comparison. You mentioned how, Pike and Una are pretty much mom and dad gone, and that with Spock in charge of the Enterprise. This turned into Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh my God. You're right.
Keep in mind, I did like this episode. And that,
Oh
but
my
that-
God, it did though.
Looking back, yeah, this was exactly Adventures in Babysitting, and that they took the car into the city, and that they got into a lot of trouble.
It makes
And
me
yet
like
still
this episode more.
But you know what? I mean, yeah, the Enterprise gets stolen a lot. This was, I think this tied into Spock and that, and where he is at the start of this episode. And that he's, very much under stress and that. Realize that like his the blockers he used to control emotions and that are gone right now because of the, having to give them up. Just about Ligorn back in the last season. They're trying to find ways to bring his stress down. And I think we all know where the source of that stress is. And I believe this was basically not only a way of helping Leon and that, but also kind of to distract him from his worries and that. And if you're worried about April and that being a villain and that, keep in mind, we find out at the end of the episode, he's got a lot on his mind right now. The introduction to Carol Kane as Pelly and that, it was perfect. It's vintage Carol Kane, right? She's like deceptively innocuous to the untrained eye, and yet she is fierce and funny, like when Spock does his absolute best to try and deceive her. Her being a Lanthanite.
Mm-hmm.
Lanthanite, yep.
Yeah, that was highly unexpected. I'm looking forward to finding out more about her and her species, and that gives her kind of a Guinan kind of role on the show.
Yeah, they live very, very long, like hundreds of years.
She says like almost. She said the words almost like forever.
Yeah, almost forever.
Yeah. So, I love Carol King. Bring more. Just give me more.
Indeed, Giraffe.
Yeah, Uhura was great. Uhura is perfect. Uhura has never disappoint. So thank God, because I would not watch that show anymore. I think Carol Kane was great. I really appreciated watching the episode with the subtitles because when I watched the screener, I was like, I have no fucking clue what she's saying. Like, no clue. Like, I would recognize like a word like warp, and I was like, sure. I whatever's going on.
Listen, if there's anybody from Paramount watching right now, we love you guys. And I should say, sorry to interrupt you, Giraffe. Thank you for all you do for us and for getting our guests and giving us screeners. You guys rock. But also, subtitles for screeners, please.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are people who have problem hearing, Exactly. Also, it's not only like because I'm foreign. Like, I have no idea if you're a podcaster that have hearing loss. How do you watch these screeners? So yeah, I had no clue. I watched your screener twice, and I was like, I suppose this is cool. I hear her like speak about Amanda Grace, and I was like, Queen. But that is all. That is all I got. So yay.
Yay.
I appreciated reading what she was saying. I was like, oh, she's cool. Spock stealing the Enterprise, it's kind of like it comes out of the left field.
It does.
Like I'm like, so that dude is a Vulcan, right? He's a smart guy also. And like his first fucking course of action is stealing the Enterprise. Like it's like 0 to 1,000. Like there's no in between. Like no, let's take a private ship. Let's take another small Federation ship. I know she wants the Enterprise, but like why?
Let me ask you a question aimed directly at you. Do you think that if Spock was still talking to Sarek, he could have gotten Sarek to like say something to like Starfleet to like let them go? Do you think that's an option?
A weird course of action. Like you receive this thing from Lan. Cool. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like she needs the Enterprise. She needs the crew. She doesn't need the ship. Like, I mean, I don't know. And then there's like, I'm going to talk to the boss. The boss says, no, okay, I'm stealing the shit. Like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, this is like very fast and loose, like with decision. And it's not the first time we steal the Enterprise. And I think it's the only time where I was like, I'm game because I'm always here. But it's kind of silly. It's kind of silly. Like, you're really like stealing the Enterprise for this. Like, you don't even argue. You don't even try like to contact Pike. You don't like, I don't know, find another captain. Like, it's weird. It's just weird. It doesn't like, it's too fast.
To be fair, stealing the Enterprise does seem to be Spock's move.
It is his MO, right?
Multiple times. He is the one most guilty of it.
Yeah, but like like him being older, you'd like, that dude knows what the fuck he's doing. That guy is a lieutenant. He has no fucking clue. He can't even like have his hand on his own fucking stress. And that dude is in med bay being all over the place. And he's like, we're going to steal the ship. And everybody's like, game. You're like,
well, and that's
Thinking
probably
about
why
his
he
dick
did it,
right
right?
now.
He's out of fucking control right now.
he's like, he has, like, when your friend is having a mental breakdown and he's like, let's steal a car. You're like, dude, no.
But Giraffe, aren't you always the one to remind us that there's no mental health care in Starfleet?
And that's the other thing I wanted to say. I was kind of like, I love the fact that the Kifara comes from Mbenga. I think it's beautiful.
Yes,
the
me
guy
too.
just has that like lying around, like, okay, why not? I think it's a beautiful, wink. When you rewatch TOS, you'll see that and it's like, oh, that's a present from Mbenga. That's so cool. But on the other hand, he's a fucking doctor. You have a Vulcan that is losing his damn fucking mind. These guys are built like a tank. You're like, and you tell him, play music? Really? Really? Like, no other, like, maybe you need to meditate, maybe call your parents, maybe see a Vulcan doctor, you need to get this. And he has the con also. You're like, I don't know, work this out, whatever, in another way then play music. And the thing with Chapel, like, kind of like, was like also not great. Are we there? No, we're not there yet.
No, you could talk about it because we're not really going to talk about it.
Okay,
we're
so
talk
the
about
thing
Chapel
that I
later.
didn't really appreciate is like, okay, there's the thing with the heart rate and so on, and so fair enough. But that Mbenga goes and tells Chapel, and she actually tells him, not now. And I'm like, that's not a professional move,
No,
like,
you're right. Yeah.
He arrives and says, I'm here for duty. So she takes her duty. And he's like, sir? Like, he didn't say that like that, but like he pointed it, like knowing. It's like, dude, do not. This is not the point. The guy is losing his damn fucking mind. And you're going to make joke that, to your nurse. Like, that was kind of, again, everything is kind of off, like not, it's like somebody who never watched Star Trek just like got a crash course and like it's almost there. It's like parallel universe Star Trek. It's
MC.
I'm gonna pick up on a bunch of stuff that Giraffe just said. But like with this scene with Spock and Mbenga, I do love Mbenga having the Cathera because like that's just a part of Mbenga's stuff. Like he totally had that from when he was studying on Vulcan. But like Mbenga says it in this episode that Spock's been going through this since Hemmer died, and we know it's been months since Hemmer died. So Spock's been like this for months. And we're only dealing with it now and dealing with it in the, maybe you should play music, that'll make you feel better. Like that's bad. And we do know that Vulcans in this kind of highly agitated state can be severely affected. Like it is debilitating. Like, I mean, it's debilitating for people to be under that much stress, but for, Vulcans to have their emotions that free, that, I mean, like that's where like T'Pring is like working at a center for like people.
And we see how like when Tuvok is out of his mind, it's taken very seriously by the Voyager crew. Like, let's like, lock him up because that is not good at all.
Yeah, this is not a situation where we should, make little tee-hee jokes about Spock's, heart rate going up. And I mean, like, I know the reason for it, but I mean, it could just be that he's just that on edge that the door opening, sends him into like a panic because somebody's walked in on what is basically a therapy session. But of course, no, it's actually about the fact that Spock has the fifis for Chapel.
It's weird that like music therapy is such a good, like my friend is a music therapist and it's such a good use of music, but the way they introduced it in this is so weird that they sort of just threw it away, right? Like that could have been an actual thing that someone could have been like, oh, you know what? He's using music as therapy. That would have been maybe that's something I should try. But in a way, it's sort of just thrown away.
Yeah.
Immediately.
I mean, like music therapy is a good form of therapy, but it is used in concert with a bunch of other therapies.
For sure.
And also, like, as Giraffe said, he has the con. He is the acting captain of the ship. So if Spock is really in this bad of a place, why isn't Mbenga going, I have to relieve you of duty. And I mean, I know they're running out of officers at this point, so I guess like Ortega's
I honestly
would
don't
be
know. Yeah, or maybe Ortega's, but like, who takes command of the enemy? Like Mitchell has commander stripes. Like
He's a
I don't.
lieutenant. No?
In the episode, she's got commander stripes.
I mean, also apparently
Oh.
Chapel has commander stripes, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, these means nothing.
Yeah.
Let's,
we'll get to that
True,
later.
true.
We will get to that later.
Yeah.
And just like the introduction of Carol Kane, fucking love her. Like she was so good. Like she is Carol. Like she is very much playing a Carol Kane character, but it is different. I think
Yeah.
Tara might have said it in the chat, like that she's Carol Kane, but she's put a spin on it. I like what she's done. Like I can totally see like the little bits of her character from Scrooge in it, but it's like still something different. I'm very interested in her. I want to know more about this species and more about her history. And as you know, for April, I get it. I mean, like there's such a big jump from talking to April and stealing the Enterprise. It feels like there should
really
be
is.
like
It totally threw me.
Steps.
Yeah.
I mean, can they not get in contact with Pike? Like, I know Pike is like going somewhere, but does he not have a comm that they can like talk to him
And
be
he's
like,
the
hey,
one guy who can put a worm in April's ear, right? Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big jump, and I think it just goes to show that this is Spock's one move.
Yeah.
This is why it took him so long to become captain, because he's always stealing the
That's a
goddamn
great
Enterprise.
point.
Stealing shit. Can I add something? Like answer the chat for a second. Sorry. Everybody's like, oh, we're like exploring like Spock and so on. The problem is that it's not really exploring Spock. Let's be honest. Spock has always like kind of like have this struggle throughout the thing.
Yeah.
And it's actually a trope. I'm gonna say again the same thing. It's like you don't listen to the show. You made me repeat myself. See the teacher? It's called the tragic mulatto. It's a fucking trope that he has to suffer and not know who he is and struggle emotionally and all this. We see it countless time with countless hybrid characters or biracial characters in Star Trek. Like, move the fuck on.
Yeah.
Move the fuck
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Go.
And I have to bring it up. They're also using a lot of this to excuse the romantic plot because
Yeah.
it's like they feel they need to come up with a reason for Spock to get into an emotional
Which
relationship.
is funny
with
because,
Chapel.
like, Kelvin Verse actually debunked that, like with Sarek saying like, I loved her. Like, you don't
Yeah.
have to be like.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Kelvin Verse reference. Yeah. Whoop whoop.
What you guys said is absolutely perfect. Even with all of that, this is probably in my opinion, where the episode shines despite those issues, like, and they're very valid issues. And I too was very much thrown by, oh, he said, no, yeah, we're going to steal the Enterprise. Okay. Definitely threw me off. That being said, we all know I love hijinks, so I was all about the hijinks. Eric Summers way up in the chat somewhere said, love that we got to see Mitchell get involved. Yeah, like Mitchell is like one of my favorite characters on the show,
Yeah.
and we don't get enough of her.
Agreed.
So the fact that she got to shine and be the one to set the warp core breach was awesome. So great point there, Eric. Thank
Her
you.
look when Pelia's like, I know what a fake warp core is. Like, oh,
right.
fuck.
Yeah. And I absolutely, April does have a good point, and especially with what we find out near the end of the episode, like you don't want to restart a war with the Klingons where I think Mbenga says later in the episode, hundreds of millions dead. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good point. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's like, obviously, like, there's a huge issue in this episode where the Klingons have a Starfleet vessel and they're going to start a false flag operation. They didn't actually know any
No.
of that stuff when they stole the Enterprise.
But, I
Like,
will give La'an the benefit of the doubt. Like, she is a really good intelligence officer, so it's a
Yeah,
good
totally.
thing that they
But
went, right?
Didn't they also say it was a group of Klingon and Federation officers that were doing this?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
We just didn't see the
I mean,
Federation.
listen, I like
Contractors.
Yeah. I like the hijinks. I really like the hijinks. I fucking fell in love with Pelia from like word one. She's amazing. Do you have a good reason to steal the ship? I love that line. I love everything about her. I can't really repeat anything else you guys said because you hit it.
Oh, the
on
Amanda
head.
Grayson thing. Did we talk about
The
that?
Amanda Grayson reference.
yeah.
Yeah,
the fact that
Draft mentioned
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, draft.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just like I mean that was on my top 5 of things I wanted back
Yeah.
Right,
well, I'm game for Amanda Grayson. I hope they bring the same actress because she's
Yeah.
fucking phenomenal in Discovery season 2. And exploring his relationship with his mother, I think was beautiful in Disco season 2, and I'd like to see more in Strange New Worlds, especially why the fuck he's so out of his family if he loves his mother so much.
Tara says I hated the Amanda Grayson thing. I'm like, why?
I would-
loved it.
Why?
I
Loved
would
it.
love to see a scene with Pelia and Amanda Grayson
God,
that
me
has
too.
nothing to do with Spock because
Yep.
Amanda is a great character and Pelia is a great character, and I would like to get them.
Listen,
know
like
them
Amanda
better.
Grayson is a badass character in
Yes.
Star Trek. She's
100%.
incredible story, and the fact that she met maybe the Lanthanite before marrying a Vulcan is like super
It
interesting.
is.
Cultures in contact. Let's
Yep.
go.
Let's get to the planet because we spent a lot of time on stealing the Enterprise. We are on Kajatar 4. We find La'an deep undercover, drowning blood wine, which was fucking awesome, against a Klingon in a drinking contest. She spots M'Benga, fills the crew in on a new syndicate on this dilithium mining. It's made up of ex-Federation soldiers and Klingons. So it's definitely bad, right? It's a bad situation. They think that peace isn't good for business because people profit on war. That's true in Star Trek. That's true in the real world. That's true in right fucking now. So they want to reignite the Klingon Federation war. What do we think about, once again, keeping like the connection to Discovery, which I think is really important, and continuing with the aftermath of the war, Eric?
I love the introduction of La'an because I fucking love Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the drinking scene was perfect. And
Right out of that,
and
yeah.
her reactions to the Klingon, who was also very good in that scene, were priceless.
I loved his grunts so
It was so good. And then just seeing M'Benga do the little eye thing, and it was such a good callback to the first episode when we see them
We
together.
still don't know what that means, right?
No,
Nope, not
and
a
I
clue.
hope we do because I assume they met during the Klingon War. Maybe I think that would be really cool. And this episode, we find out a little bit more about that. We talk about that later, so I'll save it for later.
Her belch, Tara says, and her like blood-stained tongue.
Oh yeah, and her teeth, like that
Yeah.
great makeup work. The idea of having a group of ex-Federation, ex-Klingon officers trying to start a war for profit. And she first says there's a group of people that have one reason, profit. And I was sitting there, I was like, are they going to introduce the Ferengi?
I would have loved
Yeah,
it.
same. I thought the same thing.
And then she said Klingon Federation. I was like, oh fuck, okay, I guess that's cool too.
Yeah.
But
If
still,
Jessica were here,
opportunity.
she could
Yeah.
tell us which rule of acquisition it is that war is good for business.
exactly. But I think it's an interesting premise, and I hope that's the season-long arc that they're gonna do.
Yeah.
It's such a cool idea to have these warring factions, and there was always that talk about people not being able to work together. This is the plot of Star Trek 6, right?
Yep.
When you couldn't get
Totally.
the Klingons and the Romulans and the Federation to all work together, and then they end up working together to break everything apart. So I think that's such a cool premise, and I'm down with them bringing more Star Trek 6 into anything.
100%. Totally. Yeah. Eric, I mean, Hawk,
Yeah?
you're not Eric. Hey, you want to go again?
The other Canadian.
I wish I was.
Hey, I didn't
one
skip
of the other
anybody.
30.
I just made someone go twice. Is that progress? Maybe.
I love the Discovery connection and that. And I do love learning more about that Klingon War because, we don't really stop and think about it in that. But, this Federation was so close to extinction, right? By the time Discovery
Literally one, a couple of light
One
years.
ship away. Like
one
the
ship
Return of
away. It
Discovery,
was literally
changed
one ship
everything.
away. Yep.
Yeah.
So I know people are a little disappointed in this, but it was an interesting way of kind of reintroducing the Klingons back into it and that. But not only that, also kind of taking a beat to kind of study some of the characters and like all the stuff that happened to them in the Klingon War, which when the more and more I think about it, it's like they must have all gone through hell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Leon was great. The drinking scene was great, especially when telling that one Klingon and that to make sure that the guy didn't vomit on the wrong person.
Yep.
Other than that, there were some really good moments. Are we into the kidnapping of Chapel and Mbenga?
Not yet. We'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there. So I was good.
Cool. Giraffe.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, can we speak how fucking dumb that treaty is? Like, what kind of agreement? It's like an ancient Greek mythology plot. Like, every year we change the king. You're like, what is this? Oedipus? Like, like who drafted that?
It doesn't
so
make
dumb.
much sense in like current real world politics. Like that would just never happen. Like you wouldn't have two countries using like the same source. Like correct me if I'm wrong, chat.
So it's like, we're like 30 days away from like taking the planet lead. So what happened? You change all the infrastructure, the money system. Like this is so absolutely dumb. Like
yeah,
that makes no sense. And they're like, it took us time to draft that. Oh, great. That's the same thing with the cloaking device. Like, what's that treaty? Like, so dumb.
Oh, right. The Treaty of Algeron. Yeah.
Algeron. Yeah. You like, oh my God. Okay. Anyway, so that first, I was like, I rolled my eyes. I was like, please. I mean, Klingons are not my favorite, but they're fun. I think they need to explain how they went from Discovery Klingon to this Klingon because I need to know.
They grew their hair back, Giraffe.
They grew their hair back.
That's all.
Like, I just like what they did with them. You recognize like some like badass TOS, makeup, but TNG also and Discovery. Like, it's a good mix, but they'll need to address that at one point or another in a nod. I mean, we don't talk about this, but
they're northern Klingons.
Huh?
They're northern Klingons.
Yeah, they're from the north.
Yep. Yeah. I thought like Lan was fun there. I like how she's just like going there for Oriana, Emma O. Like, when can we do the expense joke? You need to watch that fucking 6 seasons.
You've been so busy, and I like watching with you.
Like, and now that her brother was sacrificed on the planet, season 1.
Yeah.
Oh man.
For people who don't know, Yan O and Emma O are twins. And her brother, she plays Oriana, and her brother was the kid that gets sacrificed on Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach. Yeah. Anyway, so it was good seeing her all grown up. I wanted to say something. Wait, I forgot. What was the question?
The Expanse?
Klingon connection to Discovery.
Oh,
right?
yeah. That's what. Thank you. So I like that it has a real TOS feel because in TOS, the Klingons are used to speak about, the Vietnam War and political struggle of the 60s. So I really like the fact that they're using it again now to address, post-war symptoms like PTSD, having too many contractors in places where they're not supposed to be, doing shady shit because they're there and they want to make money, which is exactly what happens in the Middle East. Like right now, you have a bunch of like American contractor there, European contractors, locals just trying to make money, doing shady stuff. You have people who come back from wars with like heavy PTSD symptoms, who you don't know how to help them. And I feel it's a good way to address this and bring them back in the forefront of the conversation also today, as TOS was doing. So I like that. Thank you for reminding me what I need to say.
You're very welcome. MC.
Okay, first thing I have to say is, I know I already mentioned this in my non-spoiler review and on my Twitter, but I will basically always say this. We stand Bernadette Croft in this house.
Oh my God, this whole house.
My God. This episode just...
let me talk about one of MC's first messages to me. It was, how fast do you think Giraffe's going to make one of these outfits? And I was like...
Okay, so can I say something? So I like the outfit that they're wearing, like their like action figure outfit, but Celia said on Twitter that it was the best the best outfit she had season 2, and it has my heart pounding because, I mean, it's not fun. I mean, it's cool, it's good looking and so on, but I'm like, I want fucking Elysian Kingdom level of stuff,
Right.
you know?
That's fair.
I'm like, if that's the funnest thing she wore, I'm
That
like,
was her, you know.
Right. But what did you think about that dress that Klingon who kidnapped Chapel?
the red one.
It was so fucking good, right?
God,
Ugh, I loved it.
so good. It was giving Keller. It was giving so Keller, like
Right.
so bad. Yeah.
I
Sorry,
am so
MT.
I am so glad that Eric brought up the shout out to Marion Ravenwood, because my God, did they have La'an channeling love interests of Harrison Ford, and I'm fucking here for it. I like the connection to Discovery because anytime they reference Discovery in my mind is a good thing. Give me all the Discovery references. And the Klingon War is such a major thing that does not really get talked about that much. Like, obviously with Discovery, they missed like a large chunk of the war because of the whole mirror universe shenanigans. And Enterprise missed it because of like the whole Enterprise War book, which, you know, let's not talk about that.
Thank you.
Obviously, a bunch of people in the crew were not on Enterprise at the time and were in different roles and were involved in the war. And so I think at this point it's established it's M'Benga, La'an, Ortegas, and Chapel.
I mean everybody that was not in Disco too, basically.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I do have to say, I wonder about Chapel because she was introduced in season 1 as a civilian nurse doing study on blah blah blah, and I was like, wow, that really doesn't track with her being a field nurse during the Klingon War. But
unless they drafted people, we don't.
Well, okay, so my great grandmother, story time. My great grandmother was actually a nurse during 2 World War and had no degree, no nothing. But once the war was over, she got awarded like different diplomas, and the fact that she was de facto a nurse and de facto a war nurse. So I don't know, maybe it's something like that. She got like she went to help, you know, and she was like working in like refugee camps or like in like outposts to like help wounded soldiers, and after that they just awarded her stripes.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it does sound like she was, you know, we'll get to that serum. Like, that's not the first time she used it. So,
yeah, we're going to talk about
I don't know. But, like, I am very interested in knowing about the history of all of these characters who went through the Klingon War, because it obviously affected M'Benga, like, so much. Like, he is scarred from it deeply. And apparently M'Benga can't go through a season without having some sort of angst going on. And
all of them.
Since Rukia's gone, it's like we're gonna have war flashbacks now. And I'm wondering, like, this whole thing with La'an, like that is, I think they definitely served together during the war.
Yeah.
At some point, I think we do have to have an episode about all of these characters that served during the Klingon War together.
There needs to be a flashback episode.
Yeah, it feels like they're setting it up.
Yeah.
And yes, I love it. Give me all Discovery references.
Yep.
I wonder if they're gonna explore the fact that their 2 lead officers, Una and Pike, didn't go through the war.
Yeah.
But their crew did.
Yeah.
Like, that's an interesting question.
It is.
I mean, they're top really 3 because Spock didn't go through it either.
Spock either, yeah.
Yep. I will always take any reference and connection to Discovery because there are so many fucking idiot people out there who somehow think that this show did not spawn directly from Discovery. This is a Discovery spin-off. Out of all of the Star Trek shows that are new, this is literally a spin-off of Discovery.
Yeah.
You don't get Strange New Worlds without Discovery. You don't get to see Klingon War and have throwbacks and now references to the Klingon War without Star Trek Discovery. I'm so happy, even though I'm like, I'm not like madly in love with this episode. I'm so happy that they decided to reference it and do an episode on it because it's really important. Have a couple of people in the chat that I want to talk about. Davey and Wayne are talking about, shouldn't they look like humans now, or like they should mention the augment stuff with the Klingons? It was the 60s, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they had the makeup to do Klingons, they would have had done, like, we're just gonna, and I think we're gonna leave Enterprise canon alone.
Let's not do Picard where you need to have watched all Star Trek to understand what's going on. I think it's good for
Right.
us because we can like wonder, and if they do a little
Right.
reference, we'll catch it. And it's
Right.
good for like people who never watched Star
Exactly.
Trek. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's Klingons. Klingons are good. But I
Yeah.
do want a little reference.
Oh,
Or like
a reference, like even a Worf, like we don't talk
Oh,
about that.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll
Or a
take
little
that.
callback
You
to Enterprise, like a little
Yeah.
thing. A little
You
thing.
could have one Klingon who is just completely smooth.
Right. It would be fucking hilarious if they did
Yeah.
that too. Chris says the Klingons were just fucking awesome in this episode. They were. Bernadette needs an Emmy. Those Klingons, like a
Yes,
hybrid of the
great.
TOS uniform with like modern Klingon aesthetic, is gorgeous. La'an downing that fucking Klingon is just like life goals for me. I like that like this episode also showed like a finer, bloodier consistency to blood wine, as gross as that
Yes, I
sounds.
noticed that in the
Like,
drip of the glass.
that
and
really made me happy. Oh man, I absolutely love that this connected to Discovery. Let's do some trivia before we get to talking about this episode. Who wants to take our first trivia question of the season? I saw Hawk's finger first.
Yeah. So in season 5 of Deep Space Nine, both Martok and Kor talk about a certain vintage of blood wine being the finest to date. Your trivia question is this: what is the year of that vintage blood wine? And DM Julian or email trivia@strangenewpod.com with the answer and be entered to win a Hammer sticker.
Yes, if you were late to the episode, one of these gorgeous stickers, we'll be doing these throughout the season if you didn't win one during watch-alongs. So, Hawk, you were really happy with that trivia question. You DM'd me. You're like, I'm so happy that they have to dive deep for the
They have
answer.
to work for
You
it.
got to work
Yeah.
for that one, guys. Yeah. So, awesome. Let's keep going with our episode. Let's talk about Chapel and Mbenga. They're taken aboard. They are kidnapped. The false Starfleet vessel that this human Klingon syndicate is going to use to reignite the war. This is after they help Ariana's mom, right? We learned that Mbenga and Chapel both went through some really bad shit, as you can imagine, like when hundreds of millions die and you're fighting the Klingons, right? Like bad shit is going to happen. This leads them to take some kind of like concoction that makes them able to stand toe to toe with Klingons. What do we think about giving them that backstory and this weird steroid stuff that seems a lot like genetic modification, Eric?
I love the idea that Mbenga and Chapel went through some shit together in the Klingon War. I think that's super interesting, and it was one of the things that I really liked about this episode is that I like that we're getting a little bit more the backstory of these characters. We saw them in the first season, but we didn't really learn much about where they came from. So it was super interesting, and the look that Mbenga gave that Klingon when he was treating him.
Yeah.
And he was like,
Oh.
when there was so much blood at this battle that it started to rain blood, I was like, fuck. Like the acting is just like so good. The super soldier serum,
Let's call it that because that's what everybody's
it
calling
is.
it.
It's a super serum.
Super
Yeah.
soldier serum. Absolutely.
I have so many thoughts, and then when I first saw it, I was like, it was weird. I had to rewind it, and I'm like, is that really what they're doing? They have some sort of like Hulk like thing that they put into themselves, and I was like, and then watching it again today, I I hear Chapel say, "Do you always have this on you?" And he's like, "Yes, I do have this on me all the time." I'm like, you know how much shit you went through in the first season? You never used this at all.
They were both on the planet with those Gorn. Hemmer's blood is on their hands.
Justice for Hammer.
Justice for Hammer, hashtag.
And the only thing that I could think of was maybe it's addictive. Maybe he turns into some sort of Hulk-like monster. Like you see him almost kill that Klingon.
Well, there's a solution. He can just like play some music and he'll feel better.
Oh my god.
I want to know what the hell is going
Works
on.
for Spock. It can work for Mbenga. Why not?
Right?
I mean, here's the thing. It's green. Maybe it's Vulcan blood.
Yeah, hey, you remember when we were watching the trailer? That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And
And he did study Vulcan medicine.
Yeah.
What I
That's
Oh, yeah, it's
really
true.
cool.
What I really want is this to not just be a one-off and be like, well, we couldn't think of anything for this, so we made up this super serum for this hallway sequence that we wanted. I hear Marvel's really good with these hallway sequence fights, and we wanted to do that.
Sure that's exactly what it was.
And I don't want that. I don't want them to just use this once in the first episode and never talk about him again.
Just mumbling into her drink.
But
yeah, that's exactly
That's what it
was.
feels like, right? It was just like, we need something here. Let's pop it in. We don't need to talk about it again.
Who did it better? This episode of The Expanse, Close Quarter Battle.
Yeah.
That was literally
Have I seen that yet?
ship. Yeah, it's first season. It's it's
Okay.
called CQB. It's a ship battle in corridors, and it was fucking good. And
Yep.
it's only that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but they were against Klingons, so I guess we need we need something so that they could be sort of toe to toe with them. Anyway, it was weird. It looked really cool. Sometimes, but you know,
Someone
I
just
don't-
said that. Ernesto said the Daredevil hallway fight. I mean, that is a masterclass on how
Yeah.
to fight
Yeah.
a hallway.
That's
fight.
what I
very
think they
good.
tried to do, and it looked like they
Yeah.
were trying to simulate it just from the lighting and from all the shots. And
Oh, Haven.
I'll read it
Haven,
later.
I'm so.
I don't know. Like, it was such a weird sequence. Like, it was cool to watch, but after I watched it a couple times, like, this seems unnecessary. They could have snuck around the ship and made it to there and done.
A Die Hard episode.
Yeah, like
That's what Star Trek does
Yeah.
well.
Jeffrey's
Die
tubes, man.
Hard Fucking episode. Don't
Maybe
do
this
Marvel. Do
jerry
Die
rigged
Hard.
bullshit Federation ship didn't have any Jeffries.
That no,
Yeah, exactly.
never. That's the
No.
first thing they build.
No.
And I thought it would have been way cooler and way more intense if they were like hiding from them the whole time to get to
Yeah.
this section. Like that would have been
agreed.
cool. And it would have made that sequence when they were trapped in that one section, like the height, the stakes would have been way higher.
Yeah.
I don't know. That being, I don't know if there's anything I missed here.
No, you're good.
You covered all.
You
Yeah,
did
I don't
more
know.
than yeah.
Yeah.
I'm cracking up at Tara. The Klingons finally found guns and then shot like stormtroopers.
For real.
For real.
They were like the crappiest fucking Klingon. Like,
Oh my god, amazing.
okay, sorry, Hawk.
Yeah, Hawk, go ahead.
Well, first up, I wouldn't mind just reading Stress-Free K's comment. Babsol Asamokan is a second-degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and apparently the first African to do that. So that's
Damn.
That's really cool.
yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of in agreement about the steroid stuff. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know why they wouldn't say what it was exactly.
Right.
Maybe we'll find out later on in that. I do like the theories about it being some sort of like high, sort of synthetic Vulcan blood. I'm not sure.
So he's taking it from Spock when he's not noticing? Is that?
I mean,
'cause-
Spock was just in the med bay.
That's why he's stressed because
Yeah,
he's been like just like
he doesn't have all of his
acupuncturing
blood.
him
His blood
for, like,
count is
months,
low.
and the guy's like, something's wrong with me. I don't understand.
It has to tie back to Mbenga and like his research in on Vulcan and that. So
Or Chapel because she's a geneticist.
that's true, but she seemed shocked that when she saw it, right?
Yeah, but
Well,
She's the one who
mean,
asked about
But
it.
she and then she willingly, if not eagerly, took it.
That's true.
and
Yeah.
and it could go back to like tie back with what our little girls made of because Roger Kirby research was also into the idea
Right.
of making a eternal, super strong forever
Yeah.
man. So
Hawk, anything else?
Yeah, I kind of got knocked off there, but we were talking about Klingons and that, and these ones being kind of easily defeated. Either two things: either their reputation is kind of vastly, exaggerated in the universe, or these people, these Klingons, and that have kind of gone into this coalition with ex-Federation troops, and that are pretty much washouts from like.
That's
the
why they're
Empire.
ex-Klingons.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, let's face it. How many times does Worf get knocked out in TNG?
Worst security officer ever.
Yeah.
plastic
Yeah.
barrels is its nemesis.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Giraffe.
Okay, fuck this scene. Like, this was so fucking dumb. Like, I saw it and I was like, oh my God. First of all, it's so fucking dark. Like, you see shit nothing. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And then, like, this serum thing, I'm like, yeah, like everybody, I was like, what is this? Fucking Marvel? Like, this is so on Star Trek, you know? Like, there were so many ways to make it maybe a little bit dumb, because when like Michael crawls around Discovery and somehow takes the ship by herself, I'm like, this was fucking dumb. But you know what? I was into it. Like, just crawl into Jeffrey's tube. That's what we do. You know, ship. What is it? Ship is mine. Ship. What's the name of the episode?
Starship Mine.
Starship Mine. Like, he's like, that's a dumb fucking episode, but it's fucking epic. Like, you know, crawl around, like knock out people. That would be great. I thought it was such a missed occasion, a missed opportunity to have yet again a Die Hard episode in Star Trek.
Never turn down Die Hard.
Yeah, and it would have been so much fun. Second, the chemistry between these two is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They're so good
100%.
together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is that not explored? Like, I'm game for that. I'm so fucking game. But I understand the serum. Like, imagine you're in a war against Klingons. The Klingons are fucking machines, right? They have retardant system. They're impossible to kill. And once they board a starship, they just murder everybody.
Right.
And your guys have no way to fight them on hand-to-hand combat. We know that the Federation is shady as fuck on this topic and is ready to experiment on people. We saw that on Picard, right? To get a leading edge. So it would make sense that they develop something like this for their troop, because, well, that gives you a fighting chance. So I think it's not dumb by itself, but the way it was done was so fucking dumb.
It was really bad.
Like, if we had seen them like having, you know, again, PTSD or withdraw from this, or having attacks from this because they used it during the war, I would have been so game. But seeing them like out of nowhere, like shooting themselves with it, I'm like, that is so fucking weird. And like the eye, like the purple thing, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I loved Bab's scenes. I think he fights very well, but Chapel's scenes were not good. Like, the way she fights makes no fucking sense for a 10-pound woman. And there are ways. No, it is true.
I 100% agree with you. Yeah.
Like, there are ways that you can defend yourself as a woman and fight, but it's not by punching, because our hands are not like you elbow, you hip, you knee, you know. And the way she was fighting was like so like fake fucking TOS fight, and I was not into it. And I think that scene was so fucking long. So long.
It's because they kept on doing it in slow motion. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was just so fucking like, get the fuck out of here. And I have to say that seeing Klingons trying to attempt some Tarshire shit, like building a Federation ship in a mine and fucking being loser at it is like epic. I'm like, don't do that kind of shit. This is not your trade. It's not your trade at all. Like, that starship is clunky as fuck. You know?
The fact that it made orbit is pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah. And you know, like, these Klingons were like made of fucking like straw. Like, the guy, you punch him 3 times, he's like, the bridge is here, the code, and here's everything.
Colin says on second viewing, I hit the fast forward button, 10-second button at least 3 times. I got to tell you, watching it this morning, I was so close to hitting fast forward on this fight scene.
It's just so long for no reason at all. And it could have been very good if it was just shorter. I mean, Stranger World has to work on the fight scenes, because in the Ghost of Illyria, the fight scene was fucking bad already. Just like, you need better choreographers. I don't know, not choreographers, just like better
choreographers.
I mean, you might be saying choreographers. Yeah. MC.
Oh my God. So much to say. A lot of it that Giraffe has already said, but I'll repeat some of it because I need to reinforce some of it. Off the charts chemistry between these two. Like, it makes me so angry in this episode that they're spending so much time forcing Spock and Chapel down our throats. Meanwhile, there's this effortless chemistry between Chapel and Mbenga, and it's just like, I want like all of the things with these two, just mash them together like, you know, like Barbie and Ken dolls. But when it comes to this when it
We've all
comes
been
to
here.
this fight and this super soldier serum, I mean, like the close up on their eyes and them changing, like it's so fucking Incredible Hulk.
Mhm.
Oh, yes,
So Incredible Hulk.
you're right. Yes.
And I mean, I know the reason why they did the slow motion. It's because it's like, it's trying to show that they're moving really fast and just everybody else is moving slow around them. And it's like, that's bullshit. This fight is not
You
good.
think?
And I I know I've said this before. I can hear the writer's reasoning. I know why they put this in. It's because they want these two to be able to like go toe to toe with Klingons. But the thing is, I don't think you need to introduce this thing that we've never heard of before. And also, Mbenga has absolutely no reason to be able to be carrying around, because this serum would absolutely be be
Well, right.
So
And
he should not have
imagine
it.
if he got like captured, and they took his
Yeah.
med kit and it got into the wrong hands. Like that's
Yeah.
a whole nother can of worms.
And I mean, like, the thing is also like this kind of thing is not something that people should have, like, not during a war. Like, this is a fucking doctor in peacetime. Like, why does he
Right.
have it?
Yeah.
So
That's very true in like a lot, even in wars now, like soldiers do use
They
this
do.
kind
They
of
use stims.
things.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
does
Yeah.
exist.
yeah, but they're not in a
Child soldiers the
war.
Congo.
No,
They're-
but like after
yeah.
after wars, there's always like after World War II and even
Yeah.
after the Iraq War and so on, there was like a lot of people with drug problem and drug
And
addiction
there's
because of
tons
this.
now after
And
after
tons
all the
now.
wars.
Again,
Yeah.
it's a good criticism. It's just
Yeah.
fucking weird, you know?
Yeah, but the fact that they showed us as like a good thing that they had it. But like the thing is, they did not have to have like this sort of super soldier serum for them. Because I mean, like the thing is, yes, I know Klingons are very strong, but I mean, not to bring up the Vulcans again, but I'll always bring up the Vulcans. And Mbenga studied on Vulcan, and Susmana is meant to use your enemy's strength against them. So I mean, if you have already in this episode introduced that Mbenga just happens to have a Cathera on him, why doesn't he know Susmana so that he can use the enemy's strength against him, which would have been a better fight scene.
Right.
But I
I
guess
mean, Trip Tucker was able to learn Susmana, so
yes.
True.
if Trip can, anybody can.
Yeah. And let's face it, like, considering how they're having Chapel be all about Spock, she probably knows something about it too, because,
True.
Yeah. Do not like this scene. It raises further questions. I don't think they're going to bring up this serum again, because the only
I don't
purpose of it is to hand wave the fight scene, and I don't like it.
Yeah. God, if this scene hadn't been in this episode, like this might have actually been a really good premiere. I wish they had put the focus on La'an, since like this should have been a La'an episode. Like I don't
He should have taken the
understand this.
ship.
I
Yeah.
100%, like all of you have said, love that we have this backstory about Mbenga and Chapel fighting in the war. I think it's important to know more about why. The amount of needless slow motion fighting, like I fucking hate this scene with an undying passion. Like I hate everything about it. Giraffe, you hit the nail on the head. The fighting is awful. Like the slow motion is awful. I don't care if they have a super serum. I still don't buy them with that serum taking out that many Klingons. A couple of them would have taken them out. I'm sorry. That's just the case, whether they're dishonored or not. Like Klingons are still Klingons. I just cannot stand this scene. Like La'an had, like, when she did the whole thing with, like, this is an antimatter thing, like, don't fuck with me, and she's selling the phasers. Like, focus on La'an and maybe like find, like, have her be the solution to figuring this out. Like, we'll focus on Mbenga and Chapel later. This episode was ripe for the taking to have this be the focus on her, but instead we got this. I hate the super serum. It's so dumb. I get again, like, yes, this is very real world. This is really post-war. but it's just not. It just doesn't work here for me. I did not like it.
Thinking about
Eric,
going
what
off what
is-
you said, having La'an focus, she could have been the cop outside distracting the Klingons in
Right.
Die Hard while the other two are crawling around. Like that would have been perfect. Like
Yeah.
just perfect.
Die Hard always fucking works.
Yeah. Also, I mean, they imperil Chapel and Benga because it's not like they just discovered this Klingon vessel or this, Starfleet vessel the Klingons have taken over. They were kidnapped there.
Mhm.
Like why are we taking the agency away from our characters?
Yeah.
And we did find out more about Mbenga and Chapel, but I do feel like the driving force of this episode is focused on Spock. Everything that we find out about everyone else is absolutely incidental because it's all framed through Spock. It would have been so much better had it focused on La'an, or if it had been an actual ensemble piece where everybody works together. But the thing is, Mitchell and Ortegas fucking disappear once they
Once they get to the planet. Yeah.
And Uhura, once she's done with the translating, she basically disappears. Kind of everybody disappears until it's just Spock sitting in the chair, and it's just like, are they gonna die? Are they gonna die?
It just seems
And
like
there's a thing that they could have tied in. Like we know that La'an from the first episode refuses to take any medication.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been such a good way to explain why, because she saw the serum use, she knows something, tying in, it was never really explored. And that's again a missed fucking opportunity to bring a cool character into a story that fits them.
It's because her blood is magic and brings people back to life.
No, that's Una.
Both of them.
No, I know, but
Let's move on to what MC's talking about, right? Because this does circle back to Spock, the needs of the many, right? That's kind of what this situation is. Back on the Enterprise, Lieutenant Mitchell alerts Spock that a vessel is entering orbit as a Klingon D7, by the way, which are gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Gorgeous.
the captain was so cool. Also.
Yeah.
Also enters the system. Mitchell says it's one of their own, and Spock realizes that this is indeed a false flag operation. He's very matter of fact about it, by the way. He also receives the message from Mbenga to destroy the vessel, even though they're still on board, him and Chapel. After this awesome chase scene where we get to see Ortegas be the fucking badass that she is, Spock orders the ship destroyed. And although he doesn't know it yet, Chapel and Mbenga airlock themselves. I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm giving the airlock scene a pass because no sci-fi show in the history of sci-fi, unless I've missed something in The Expanse,
You have?
has not
You absolutely fucking have.
has not
That's the
gotten
best fucking episode of The Expanse.
has not gotten airlocking right, but I guess The Expanse has.
Oh my god,
yes.
The Expanse.
Everything is right in the
Incredible.
Expanse.
Everything's
episode on
everything. Yes, the crossfield is not the crossfield because no one knows what a crossfield class looks like because they were classified. I'm dropping that point. We're not talking about the crossfield thing anymore.
But
I'm
going to
bringing
talk
it
about
up
it.
No,
Me too.
they're gone. No, you're allowed to. I swear.
For the right reasons.
I guess. Although he doesn't know it yet. Chapel and Omega airlock themselves. They set off a rescue beacon from the EV suits and are able to be rescued. What did we think about this entire sequence and Spock's struggle to make the decision, Eric?
I like seeing the updated crossfield class. I think that it looked really neat.
I like how he
Is
went
it an
directly where
updated
you said not to
crossfield
go.
class, or is it just they don't know what it looks like?
No,
so
they don't have.
that's-
It didn't have the triangle midsection. It had a more traditional,
And then
like
the cells were lowered. It looked like a Miranda class.
yeah,
I read
but it
that.
had
read
Looked like a
things
Miranda
today.
class.
The registration is actually it's older than the Glenn, so it's it goes this ship, the Glenn, Discovery, in that order of the registration. So this was before that. And the thing is, and I was talking about this in Discord earlier. Crossfield ships, they were experimenting in propulsion, but it was only the Glenn and Discovery that were doing it
With the
using the
mycelium.
spore drive.
Yeah.
So, this one probably had a completely different propulsion drive on it.
Modifications, right?
So that's
And
why
they
it looks
grabbed
different.
it during the war, most probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it explains why the nacelles are different in the midsection, right? That's cool. It was cool. I like seeing Lieutenant Mitchell doing more things. So that was really nice, especially since Kyle is apparently missing. I don't know what happened to him. That is transporter chief.
There's a new transporter chief, Jay.
There is.
I liked her or them.
Who
I don't know
is
their
non-binary.
pronouns. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Them.
Non-binary.
Okay. Cool. New character. I would like to see Kyle again. Not important.
Oh, transporter twink.
Yeah. I thought it was cool that Mabenga did Morse code and that Uhura could decipher that and be like, you know what, destroy this. I hated Spock being like, oh fuck, do I blow them up now? Do I not?
Yeah,
Let's follow them for a lot more in this field that only has so much time. We could blow them up a long time. That being said, Chapel and Mabenga's look at each other before they airlock each other has way more chemistry than any of
That's
Spock
what I
and
forgot
Chapel.
to say. Their chemistry is so fucking good.
I sat there and I was like, fuck, why? I don't
Kiss.
You just kiss, yes.
Kiss.
They
Kiss.
want it. You could see it. It was just like, oh, it was so palpable. Their chemistry. It was just like, oh, it's right there. Just do it. And then to follow that up with Spock going like, wake up. I'm
He was like,
fuck.
don't die. Do fucking CPR, man. You're a science officer. The
Warm her up.
fuck?
Put a blanket on
Like-
her. She's cold, man.
It's just
Why did medical not come in with blankets? You're absolutely right.
there's no
Where was
medical. There's nobody else.
There's
Oh,
nobody.
yeah.
Also, he's the fucking captain.
And he's a ship science officer. He should know how to do CPR.
Science?
Like,
I'm just wondering why he's leaving the fucking bridge to go to the transporter room when
Because
he's the fucking
love.
captain.
Love.
No.
just like yelling at, like, it's a
Is
good
what
thing.
brings
It's like
us together
Today. Oh my god.
when you're sick or when you pass out and people just yell at you. It's like, stop yelling at me. I'm passed out. What do you
Yeah.
want me to do? Like,
That was the worst sequence for me in this whole episode.
Yeah,
was
it
him
was not
yelling
good.
at her, and I was like, "Fuck! I hate this. I hate every moment." Every single time I watched it, I was like, "Fuck!" I fast forward, but I might go too far. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this. This the special effects in this episode, like the chase sequence, gorgeous. I said this after I watched it to everyone here. I was like, the special effects in this episode and this season, to be honest, are better than some major motion pictures.
100%.
It's crazy how good it looks. Like
So beautiful.
bad props.
We thought season 1 looked good. Every episode of this season
yeah.
blows my mind with the visual.
And we
effects.
didn't even
It's
see it in
insane.
high def. Like we
No.
watched it on
No.
our laptops and shitty
Nope.
streaming. It's
Yep.
it's crazy.
With like written like Paramount Plus in the middle.
And they flashed. We'll talk about
Sometimes
this
there's my
later.
name. I like that sometimes it's written spotted giraffe, like right smack in the
Yeah,
middle
yeah,
of it.
exactly.
Yeah. Hawk.
Okay, so chase sequence, yes, beautiful. It's actually one of my favorite bits of this episode. The D7. Oh, it was so cool, especially seeing
Oh
the
yeah,
guns.
so good.
Dude, the guns coming out was so dope.
It's so good.
So dope.
I want a model of that. I want it now.
The Spock bits, yes, were very bad. And it's like I'm not even sure I really like seeing Spock portrayed in this kind of light as a character.
I'm fine with Spock showing some emotion, but like that was just not Spock. It
But
just like
the absolute abandonment of reason, right? With
Yeah.
him, yeah.
yeah.
And Chapel and Mbanga in the airlock, I really enjoyed that moment, and especially that look between them. And it's like, yes, I'm there. I'm right there with you guys, and that I'm mashing two dolls together, and that kiss, kiss, kiss. Why aren't they exploring that? Because it seems like there's so much to tell in there,
Mhm.
and we
Yeah.
really don't even know that much about Mbanga and that, like as far as like relationships and that, like Rukia's
Well,
mother.
we know he's single.
Yeah.
He likes fishing.
We're not exploring it because they made a decision in episode 1 of the first of season 1, and they're goddamn sticking to it.
Yeah.
They just can't
They want
change
the
course
people
right now.
that they consider hot to be smashing.
Listen,
Yeah.
like, and I don't like, and I think this is known already. Like, I don't have as big of an issue with Spock Chapel romance as everybody else on this pod, but like, it is very, very force fed, and that I don't.
It's
Yeah.
too much. It's like
Yeah.
everything.
Too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't like it. I think they do have good chemistry. I think that Mbanga and Chapel, those actors have better chemistry together. But like, I don't mind it. But it is force fed. Yeah.
What else was I going to say? There was a bit about communications in this that I kind of liked. In that, Leon sent out that message in that, like a coded message that she knew Uhura would pick up on that, because she had sent it at a time when Uhura was always monitoring emergency comms, right? This one they sent out like a transpond from the transponder of the ship in a Morse code, and that, because Mbenga realized he knew that they'd been monitoring that,
Yeah.
that. But again, it all requires, basically, like, trusting in that the person you're sending a message to is going to receive it, and so it's like, I think that was kind of like trying to push the message that they're a tighter crew this season.
Yes.
I did like that. About all, like, Spock stuff did bother me a little bit in this episode, and that, the pounding on the chest, and that, and it's like pretty much breaking down that. But then he pulls it all together, and that when he's talking, it's almost like you're talking to two different people. And that when he's talking to the Klingon captain, and that he was back to being old Mr. Spock.
100%.
Yeah. There are two wolves inside of you.
Yes.
Fuck.
Keep going. Oh,
Fuck. I hated that thing. So the thing I just want to say that I love the fact that when Uhura comes to talk to Spock in his quarters, he's like, why can't you like call? Which is like my line all the time. Like when people come, it's like, why can't you call? Like, why are you here? And I love that. And she's like, well, the comms are done. And he's like, is that music I was hearing? He's like, no. And I'm like, oh, come on. Let's go.
Yeah.
X. You know, I was like, they're hinting at it. I was like,
Who wrote it in the chat?
Yeah. Huh?
Someone wrote that in the chat. I think it was Kang. My hopes are higher now. We'll get a scene of Uhura singing to Spock's lyre
They
playing.
have to. This is like just hinting at it.
Yeah.
Gave it to me.
The die is cast.
They haven't had a concert on an Enterprise in a long time.
Yeah, true. Quartet.
Don't get my hopes up. Don't get my hopes up.
The thing that I don't understand is that Spock is a trained Starfleet officer. Okay. And when you're trained into oblivion to react to crisis situation, you go in like autopilot, you know, like when you've done so many CPR or so many training of doing the thing, they do that so you don't freak out and you just go into it. I don't understand why Spock can't do that. We know he's stressed. We know this, but it's kind of weird. Like,
no, but you're right. There's a mode that you get into.
But it's also it's weird because he got into that mode in Discovery, but here he just
That's
sort
what
of.
I was gonna say. Compare that Spock to Spock in Disco Season 2, who doesn't give a flying fuck about anything, but like fucking gets the job done. Even if he's like all over the place trying to have a beard, like where is that Spock? What the fuck happened? That Spock was metal. That Spock was like fucking broken, but so much fun, And then like we get that dude. It's like he's like 15 years younger somehow than Spock in Disco 2, when he's like actually like how many years older? Like 3 years older, 4 years older?
What now?
Yeah, than Spock in Disco 2.
Not that long. Maybe like a year and a half. Maybe 2 years. They were in space dock for a few months. Yeah.
So you're like, I don't understand how we went from that guy to that guy. The fact that he has this like emotional question about firing on the ship, I was like, oh, he doesn't want to kill a full crew of people. Like don't ask me. No, it's just because of Chapel. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I thought, Klingon are still fucking people, even if like they're like the bad guys.
Yeah.
I would have seen Spock having like that, dilemma about taking lives because he's a Vulcan and they don't even eat meat and so on because life is sacred. But no, it's just like for the fucking girl. I'm like, well, fuck everybody else, I guess. So then I rewatched and I was like, oh, that's so dumb. And the whole scene in the transporter, I was like, fuck him, Mabenga, I suppose. Like, I mean, nobody cares if he dies. It's just off. There's like there's a good plot, but somehow the choices made are just like kind of like
it just seems like there's so many moments that seem like two different episodes in this episode.
Yeah. And it's like when you get the cereals from Walmart and not the real brand. I'm like,
right.
Walmart Spock, is that like It tastes off. It tasted off.
Yeah.
Like it was the moment where he could have shined, and I would have loved to see him like take the command and see a glimpse of the Spock that we will know, and that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But no, I don't get to be happy.
It's a personal attack on you.
Damn, I love
Personal attack on me.
that. MC.
So just like I said, I was going to bring up the Crossfield class. The only scene of emotional honesty that I saw with Spock is the moment that Mitchell identified the Crossfield class, and they have a shot of Spock, and you see a look on his face, and you absolutely know he's thinking about Michael in that second. And it's the only moment that I'm just like, yes, this is fucking Spock. Now, because I am me, I am going to bring up the Kelvinverse. Do you remember in Star Trek Into Darkness when Spock nearly sacrificed himself at the beginning of the movie, and Kirk, when he's going to rescue him, asks, McCoy, it's like, what would Spock do? And McCoy says, Spock would let you die.
Yep.
That doesn't apply to M'Benga in Chapel, even when M'Benga tells him to blow up the goddamn ship.
To be absolutely fair, let me just say real quick, to be absolutely fair, yes, there's a moment of hesitation, but at the end of the day, he does blow up the ship thinking he killed them.
I guess that's true. But they milk it.
They do. No, they do. They do.
Yeah,
You're not wrong there.
So much crying.
So much crying.
Yeah. And this
Didn't we used to complain about that? We'd be like, too much crying, Michael. You're going to be that person.
That was a dig. That was a total dig.
Yeah. And this episode, just like all of the scenes about Spock and Chapel, and I'm not just saying that because I hate Spock and Chapel. I just fucking hate it. Like, I mean, like, I know I'm biased, but like, I can also like look at things objectively as a writer. His heart rate going up, and then, thinking that she's died, and then the scene of, you can't die, you can't die, you can't die, and then standing at her fucking bedside. Like, I'm sorry, like, these are like the most fucking typical things, and not things that I think we should be putting onto Spock. Like, Spock in a relationship, like, there's...
He would be a fucking weirdo. He would not come to see you at the hospital and be, dude, the fuck, I was sick, why don't you come? It's like, you didn't need me. Like, that's the kind of level I with Spock. I can tell you that's 1000% what Spock would do.
to bring up Kelvinverse again, I mean, like, we've seen Spock in a relationship, and like with somebody else in Starfleet. Like, he's a fucking weirdo. And by the book, this Spock was not by the book. He was completely ruled by his emotions, and I don't fucking respect it.
Yeah.
And the scene where Chapel and M'Benga looked at each other like they needed to just furiously make out.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. I hated the transporter room scene. I also hated the transporter effect they did there. That was
weird.
Weird.
Really bad. Really bad.
You think they're gonna have clones?
Don't.
Transporter clones.
I don't like that. I hate how Spock acted. Like, listen, again, I'm not against seeing some emotional Spock, but this was not Spock. I did not like it. I'm gonna try and focus on some of the positive of this because I absolutely adored Mitchell and Ortega's getting to shine in the scene. I loved Ortega's being like, we are not getting hit again. That we just got a fresh paint job, and she spins the Enterprise, and like, it's so badass. And then, like, come on, man. Melissa Nevia's acting is so good. She doesn't need to say a single fucking word. A minute after she spins that ship, that face she just puts on, she's like, game face. It was so good. It was so good. And I have to say, I really loved Spock's conversation with the Klingon captain afterwards.
Oh yeah, that was so good.
And he's like, you drink blood wine, and the simple, and this is a Spock that we do know and love, right? He goes, I have been known to. It's just so like dry and delivered, right? Like, it was so good. Like, going from that to this emotional not Spock is so jarring because there's so much to love about some of these moments, but then you get like the transporter scene, and like you said, he does eventually do the right thing and blow up the ship, but it's so drawn out. Like, just
this was long.
like Too long. Breathing is the first time we ever seen Mare's. No, we have no. Let's wrap this up, guys. Spock, a barrel of blood wine, Klingons, a nasty hangover, and a stern talking to from Admiral April. Let's try and be a little quick here. Job well done, Eric.
I loved the drinking scene. I think it was hilarious. I loved it all. Ethan Peck was great in this sequence. It was my favorite part that he did in this whole episode. I thought the dressing down by Admiral April felt in line based on what we had seen earlier.
Right.
Still gave me questions about Admiral April's what side he's on.
Especially with what we find out, right?
With the Gorn ship.
They're the Gorn, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he's not one of the ones trying to start the war. I doubt he is, but they're trying to push that. It feels like the bad Admiral from Discovery, where like, are they going to try and make him feel like that? We know he's not. So that's all.
Right. Hawk.
Yeah, Spock when he's drinking with Klingons, yes, perfect. Klingons, great. Barrel of blood wine, please. Nasty hangover, I like that bit. And, yeah, April was pretty lenient with him, but that's fine, considering he averted another war with the Klingons. So, yeah, job done.
Job done. Job done.
Yeah. I love the Klingon captain. I think he was fucking good. And like that's such a Klingon move, like to be like, I need to see you. And I'm like,
Face to face.
like I mean, like
it's something Core would do.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like TNG kind of Klingon bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I'm game. Like it's not the Discovery Klingon. I really like the Discovery Klingon, as you know, because they're fucking badass. But it's like I like that little like nostalgia Klingon kinda, And I don't know if I've worked with a lot of diplomat kids of diplomats, and that's totally the bullshit that diplomats will like teach their kid, like handle your liquor, like know how to swear in several languages, know how to do toasts. So I was like, that is some Sarek education here.
And
it's
don't
like
say no to another round.
Yeah, like that's his like he's been in too many like diplomatic situation where this is what was going on. Plus like a little bit of academy, like Starfleet Academy maybe, Like, well, I like the fact that like we hint at like Spock having like a crazy youth and like doing like a lot of shit. I love that. I love the fact that there's a callback again to Amanda Grayson. I don't care that you guys don't like Amanda Grayson. I fucking
love Amanda. I love Amanda.
I think we all love her.
I think we all do. Yeah.
No, I was talking to the chat.
I know you were.
The only thing that I'm a little bit wary about, I don't know, I think I was talking with MC about this, is that I hope that Pelia doesn't become a mother figure for Spock and then exists only in the relationship to Spock like Chapel does.
Right.
So I hope that, I mean, she's an amazing character, but I hope she's not going to be the mummy, the mother figure, because Amanda is still here somewhere. And if you want to do we explore the sibling relationship of Spock. I fucking love that. If we want to explore his relationship with his mother, bring on his damn mother. She's around somewhere. And I hope that Pelia will not be stuck in that role of like being Spock's mommy. As we saw too many mummies on Picard already. Like, please, let's have like one mummy only. Like, that's good. Like, this will be good.
Mia Kirshner lives in Toronto. She should just go be Amanda Grayson again.
I just want to see more Vulcan fashion also.
Same.
Because Amanda always slay, always.
MC.
So, first of all, I just want to respond to chat. I have zero problem with Ethan Peck. I fucking love Ethan Peck. I think he's doing a phenomenal job as Spock.
Yeah.
I have a problem with some of the choices that the writers are making. They're taking, and I mean, and also like I'm very critical of Chapel. I also have no problem with Jess Bush. I think Jess Bush is doing a phenomenal job. I have, problems with what they're doing, what the writers are doing with these characters, because, Chapel is basically just a prop in Spock's storyline. And I don't really care for the storyline that they're doing with Spock.
Yep.
So I just want to get that out of the way. That being said, this scene of Spock with a barrel of blood wine and Klingons is fucking great. I love this. This is like one of my favorite scenes of the episode. Fan fiction writers need to stop writing that Spock can't get drunk because I see that too much. And it's clear now that is not true. He
Drunk
can totally,
Spock was best Spock. I love
he
drunk
can
Spock.
totally get drunk. He can get hungover. I love it. I need it. It was great. And I did like the last scene with Pelia. I agree with Giraffe. I don't want to see Pelia just put in a role to serve Spock. But I think that's a problem I'm having with a lot of the characters in this episode, that a lot of it is to serve Spock. And I get that, we're going to have episodes that focus on a specific character and everybody else is kind of just going to revolve around them. But, we went into, this is the first episode of season 2, and we're going into a character that already had 3 episodes in season 1. So
Yep. I really liked that one line. I don't remember it word for word, where Spock and Pelia are talking, and Spock just goes like, who said it in the chat just now? Carolyn 3 says, yeah, there were some moments where he was pure Nimoy. There's a pure Nimoy moment where he's talking with Pelia, where he says something along like, by the way, I really always appreciated something about
curiosity. That's the curiosity.
I adore that line so much. It is so good and so well delivered. This whole scene, the drinking and the hangover, and I love like April just being like, dude, are you fucking hungover right now? And it was just so deadpan. Like,
Sir, can you please lower the volume of your voice?
Please. I liked it. I really liked the end. I like the job. Listen, did it make up for most of the episode? No, but did it mostly stick the landing? Sure. Speaking of sticking the landing, I'm not going to say final thoughts because we have always, for the past few weeks,
Too
in
many
other
references
reviews,
to the Expanse. That's
too
my
many
final thought.
Expanse references.
There are like 6 or 7 Expanse references in that fucking show.
Okay, but I will do final. Fine, I will do final thoughts. Eric, final thoughts?
Yeah, it was an episode.
It was an episode. Hawk.
I'm grading this one on a curve and that because it's back and it's back.
Sure. Giraffe, you went with too many Expanse references.
Go watch the Expanse.
Go watch the Expanse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
aggressively fine.
Yes.
And I'm obviously incredibly biased. I'm sure that people who don't, have as strong feelings about Spock and Chapel will probably like this episode better than I will.
Sure.
So I can admit that. So
yeah. Let's rate this one out of 10 cups of Ractigino to get rid of that damn Klingon blood wine hangover. We will go in reverse order. MC, your rating for this one.
Ooh, let's go, girl.
How dare you?
Yeah, put a number
How
on
dare
it.
you? 6.5.
Fair.
Ooh.
Giraffe?
Okay, I like the episode, but not season premiere worthy at all. At all. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Hawk.
Yeah.
And YouTube, give us your ratings too. Sorry.
I'm gonna go 8, but it's mostly just grading up on it and that it should be a 7.5, but I'm just happy it's back, and I know there's good episodes coming in that, so it was fine. It didn't have to be because it didn't have to be season 1 grade and that because that's rare.
They need to pass.
Tara says aggressively fine is delicious.
They need to
And
do
yes,
better
Haven,
than
I will make a
Disco
sticker.
4. They need to do better than Disco 4 season opening, which was fucking good. And then I'll grade like a higher than a 7 or an 8.
Yep. Eric.
I will go against what Hawk said. It does have to be as good as season 1. It does. It's the first episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why it's a 7.5. It was fine. It was just fine.
It was good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna even take it beyond that. I think it needs to go tenfold better than listen, this is your flagship show now, right? This is Star Trek's flagship show. Season 1, debatable between the podcast crew. In some eyes, a perfect season, right? A great show, great season
In the
premiere.
right eyes.
This needs, thank you. This needs to top that and then some, and it didn't at all. I'm somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7 for this one.
They stole the Enterprise, and we're like, it's a 7.
And we're like, it was good. There was it was a good episode. It just wasn't a season premiere worthy episode, and it wasn't anything special.
If you're gonna have an episode without Pike and without Una, it has to be special.
Then it better be fucking amazing.
They needed to dial it up to like 16.
Yeah.
And they went 8.
Yep. Yep.
Let's look at
feelings. But Spock's feelings. Let's look at YouTube's numbers. Eric Summers a 7 for me as well. Maggie Light gives it an 8. Carolyn an 8. Kang a 7. Issues and all. I'd still rather watch this than Lift Us We're Suffering Cannot Reach. I mean, all of us. Matt Harker an 8.5. Ricard Picardo 9 out of 10. Bloodwine Burps. Tara an 8.5. Wayner a 10. Stress Free K 8.5. Crossfields of Spinning Outer Rings. I think that is it. Let's get to the subspace to pull and mailbag.
Shipwide, Cadet Aurora.
Aye, sir.
Who wants to take the subspace to pull tonight? Who wants to read Klingon? Who wants
Julian does.
Oh,
Julian.
Jesus Christ. All right, fuck it.
Davey, give it an 8.
Oh, sorry, there's Davey. Davey with an 8. Sweet. We asked Trek Twitter what they thought about episode 201, The Broken Circle, and this is what they had to say. I'm going to butcher these. 66% of you said, Mashka. 21% Mash. 6% said, Luh. And 7% said, Kahab. That's my Klingon. Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. If it was me, we'll go back around. Eric, can you take Chris's mailbag, please?
Of course. Chris wrote, "This is one of the coolest ways to open a season. I didn't expect them to jump out swinging this fast, but I'm here for it. We got so much backstory for characters and such a personal look into them. I absolutely loved everything they did with this, even if some new camera techniques might be odd. I'm glad they're going bold. Live long and prosper. Kapla." Kapla!
Nice. Nice. Can you take Matt's, please, Hawk?
Yes, Matt Harker wrote, "I really enjoyed the season 2 premiere, especially the Doc Chapel super soldier scene. It will be
We have way different opinions.
it will be really interesting to learn more about their shared PTSD. Also, the single tear Spock shed for Chapel. I really hope they don't take it too far, but it will be interesting to see them walk the tightrope. Lastly, Pelia. Her journey to fight her boredom should lead to some really fun moments as long as they don't overdo it. I can't wait to see what new peaks this SNW crew has take us to this season."
Drafts with Havens, please.
Sorry. Evan wrote, I must say I absolutely loved this episode. I watched it with some of my closest friends here on Discord, and then again almost immediately afterwards. But I do have some issues with which I hope are resolved. Why did they need to resurrect Project Khan? Oh wait, that's a headcanon. And give it to Mbenga and Chappelle. Also, Pelia is absolutely incredible, but I feel like they should have made her species an Elorian, since we know Guinan looked the same from all this way back in Mark Twain's day to the 24th century. Initial rating was an 8.5, but that is no longer the case. It is easily a 9.
Nice. Can you take Eric the Reds, please, MC?
Eric the Red wrote, "Dunno how I feel about Mbenga and Chapel going, as someone else said, full John Wick. I did enjoy their interactions regarding the experience with the war. Spock taking command was interesting, and there are subtle allusions to Trek 3. You guys picked an interesting time to do the Search for Spock rewatch. And Trek 6 also got a classic Uhura scene with the inspectors."
Full disclosure, we did not have screeners yet when we decided to do the Star Trek 3 episode. Just putting that out there. It's me. Tara wrote, "Oh, I get to read the limerick. I don't think I've ever gotten to read a limerick. Yay." I have some nitpicks, but I have to say I really enjoyed this episode. Well-paced, gorgeous space dock shots, and a lovely dedication to Nichelle. Yes, that was really beautiful at the end. And Carol Kane, that's it. She just wrote, "and Carol Kane." I love that. Beautiful.
And Carol Kane.
And now a limerick. The Broken Circle. Pike must go off to save number 1. Leaving Spock in charge. Commence the fun. I wouldn't bet against La'an versus any species at the pub, but the med staff really needs spacewalking scrubs. Oriana is safe, we hope, happily back with her moms. I look forward to these every week from now on, Tara. Every
Pressure
week.
is on.
You're
No
stuck
pressure.
doing it.
Pressure is on. Back to you, Eric. Can you take Jedi Cats, please?
Jedi Cat wrote, I thought it was a banger of a season opener, although I'm still sorting through my feelings about the Mbenga and Chapel versus Klingons fight sequence. It was a great action scene, but I'm undecided about whether it was necessary. The climactic sequence where the Enterprise chases and destroys the rogue ship while waiting for a signal from Mbenga and Chapel was great, and Ethan Peck's performance was outstanding. It was cool to learn how Spock took up the Vulcan lyre, or harp, and I already love Carol Kane as Pelia. You know a show is good when you enjoy an episode where one or more of your favorite characters, Pike and Una, are only in it for 5 minutes.
It's a
Nice.
Cathera. That's what the let's stop with the harp and lyre, all of this stuff. It's a Cathera.
Cathera. There you go. Beautiful. Hawk with Collins, please.
Colin D. wrote, Spock starting his music therapy with his beautiful new instrument. Carol Kane and the absolute delightful sense of adventure. Beautiful, quiet loyalty from the hearts of the bridge crew. Foreboding winds of war. Excellent, tight suspense before saving our beloved medical staff. So much to love about this episode. 9.5 out of 10. Concerned regarding the direction of Spock and Chapel. Oh, the tribute to Nichelle. Tears.
I didn't like the tribute.
Oh, no.
Okay, sorry. It's gonna be a parenthesis. Sorry, Julian. I'm so sorry, but we didn't speak about it. But I think that Beyond did a beautiful tribute to Nimoy by just having the picture in the movie.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think Strange New World, it's a beautiful tribute. It's great that they have a tribute, but
Do something bigger, right?
Yeah.
she needs something bigger. She
Yeah.
deserves
Mhm.
something bigger.
She does.
Just a picture, just like, I don't know, like I was on text track saying, like, Uhura speaks about her grandmother. Let her have the portrait of her grandmother,
Yeah.
and it's Nichelle Nicole.
Yeah.
And that's all. And
Yeah.
that's all. But like something more than some words at the end of an episode that I
Yeah.
skipped the first time because I left.
Fair. Can you continue with Fef's mailbag, please?
Me? Yes.
Yes.
Fef wrote, I love Pelia and want more Pelia and more Ortegas. Vamonos. I really liked that the opener had Pike and Una in one scene and the rest of the crew took the stage. Bold move. I would have used less fighting, but that is my only nitpick of the episode.
Nice. Can you take Lanky Guys, please, MC?
Lanky Guy wrote, overall, a glorious opening episode, and Carol Kane as Pelia is a superb addition. Though, like Mbenga's gifting Spock the lyre, her connection to Spock's mother makes the Star Trek universe smaller. Not everything needs to be connected. My major quibble is Spock and Chapel, but I'm willing to table this as they seem to be moving pieces around to resolve it. Mbenga and Chapel were great. Uhura was luminous, and Mitchell had stuff to do. I'm ready for the next episode, and all I can say is, where's Sam Kirk? Hashtag release the stash.
Don't worry, he's coming. That's not
Absolutely.
even a spoiler. Sam Kirk's coming. He's coming, guys. Don't worry. Wayner wrote, anything involving stealing the Enterprise, I'm all in for. Spock breaking the rules and stealing the ship. I loved it. He must have learned a thing or two about disobeying orders from Michael. True.
Yeah.
Their quote plan gave me a Lower Decks vibe. I could totally see the Lower Deckers crew coming up with a similar plan, but not really sure how to carry it out and doing it anyway. I had some reservations about Carol Kane as an engineer, but she's great. I hope we get more of Pelea's backstory. An awesome start to the season. 100%. Well done. Eric with Davies, please.
Davey wrote, I was smiling from start to finish. The show fills my heart with joy in good and bad times. That is all.
Boom. And take us home, Hawk, please, with Jay Woodman's mailbag.
Jay Woodman wrote, this was a fabulous season premiere filled with hijinks and a punishment to suit the crime. Did you peep the coffee? Desperate times, desperate measures. I look forward to what the rest of the season has to offer, perhaps even a Gorn funeral. We had the wedding already in Lower Decks, and Hemmer needs justice.
Indeed, he does. Speaking of justice, I have no segue. I thought I was going somewhere with that, but I don't. There is justice in the happy hour, though, which is happening directly following this pod. This is our season premiere review wrapped up of Strange New Worlds season 2. It was really fun tonight, guys.
Yeah.
Despite everything with
It
some
was
technical
spicy.
difficulties. It was spicy. It was fun. I'm here for it. I loved it. We will be back next week. I'm allowed to announce our guest, right? They're in. That's happening. Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna.
yeah,
I'm
if
gonna
they're
have
not in, please don't be mad at us.
Next
It's
week's
fine.
episode is the trial, the court martial of number 1, and we could not do that episode without our friends at the Legal Geeks. They will be joining us for that one. It is going to be a blast. Make sure you tune in. Patrons, Cerritos Lounge and above, join us directly following this pod for Happy Hour, for Eric, for MC, for Hawk, for Giraffe. I am Julian. Live long and prosper. Majram. Good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.